Hi everyone, welcome back to Uipath tutorials, and today we will going to talk about the data service integrations. So let's quickly go to the cloud.uipath.com. So as I have already logged into it, then you can see here I'm having one tab as data service, but some of you is don't have this tab, so I'll tell you how you can enable this particular tab. So you have to go to the admin and go to the edit services. So this should be checked data service and you have to click on the save button. Once you have this data service, you have to click on this. You see this is the entities that I have already created one customer entity. So I will create one for you. Before creating this, what exactly this entity is, let me explain uh, on this. So the entity is basically we used in the studio, but why we use it is, so for example, if we have a lot of arguments and we want to pass it to the next workflow, so we see if 2025 arguments are there, and so instead of doing that we can create the entity. uh, in the entity we can define that much of fields that we want to be passed as argument to the next workflow. So we have to give the names to those fields, like the user, like we can say the name, the first name, last name, phone number, gender. So these are the fields that we can want to pass it, for example. So like we can pass directly the entity object where we are no more required to pass all the 20 plus arguments. Yeah, so that I'll definitely show you how we can utilize this in the studio. But again, yeah, let me create a new entity. So let me create it as a test customer. You can give the description here, save it. So as the entity is created, what we have to do, we have to click here. You see some of the display name means some of the field is auto created, like ID created by create time, updated by an update time. No, so you don't need to worry about all those things, but what you need to worry about is you have to create a fields that you really want to utilize it in the studio or in your code. So for example, I want to use as a first name, first name. This is the text. If you check on the required, that means if you not going to pass a value to it from the studio, then it will going to give the error saying that this is required. Is the value you want to add to the entity, then that is really needed for this particular display name. Let me save it. Okay, let me create another one, that is last name. Mhm. So you are having the type text, number, boolean, date, time, relationship, choice set, and files. So this much of variables and this much of data types we are having. You can utilize these data types basically, whichever you want to use it. And you see in the last there is a file data type we are having. That means we can also import the files to this entity. So yeah, let's save it as a text for now. So now we are created the first name and the last name. If you're going to add it from here, you can add the display name But you'll not go, but the name that is described here will not be changed. So if you, for example, let me first name, let me change it to first name 1. You see the name below is not changing. So remember, if something you want that the display name should be same as the name, then just try to remove that and create it again. You can delete it. So there is an option of delete button where you can delete it. This is whole about the entity, or the entity what we called it. So in the next video I'm going to tell you how we can utilize this particular test customer, or the one that I have already created, that is customer entity, in the studio. So yeah, I'll create another video for it, because there we're going to discuss how to add the data to this particular customer entity, and how we can update the data, how we can delete the data, how we can select the data from here. So those were basically happening on the activities. Yeah. So that's it for today, and subscribe my channel. Yeah. And thanks for watching.